Hi everybody, my name is Elizabeth Hobson and I'm a GK-12 fellow this year. So if you're in Picacho Middle School in the Agri-Science Explorations class, I'll be coming into your class all year long to do some kind of neat activities and experiments with you guys. So I wanted to tell you a little bit about myself. I grew up in northern New York in a really small town and then went to Canada to work on my undergrad degree. So after my undergrad degree, I came down here to New Mexico to start my PhD work. And you might be wondering, why would you want to go back to school after spending so many years already in school? So that's a good question. For me, I really love the research. So the PhD program gives me a chance to be really creative and innovative and think of questions that nobody's ever thought of before and research things that we just don't understand so far. So it can be a really exciting time. So I wanted to show you guys a little bit about what I do when I'm not going to be in your classroom. This is the study species for my research is the monk parakeet. So these are little guys that are found in South America, and they're also found in the US as escaped pets. They've established in a lot of different states like Texas and Florida and Connecticut. So you can see them flying around and in the cities actually, which is really kind of neat. So this species, they're very social. You can see that they like to form these big groups and move around together. So I focus on studying the social structure and how each individual is interacting with all the other ones in the groups and how that social structure forms over time, and then the potential benefits that the individuals get from how they're interacting with others in their group. So for my research, what I do first is I mark the birds. So we use the highly technical method of marking them with a Sharpie marker, which tends to, you can see it pretty well and it stays for about a month and it's non-toxic for the birds. So each one gets its own mark so I can tell them apart. And then what I do is I release them into this large flight pen. So it's a huge cage so they can't escape, but it's got lots of trees and grass so they can kind of fly around and act pretty normally in here in their group. Then what I do is I watch how the birds are interacting with each other over time. So here you can see that there's one bird over here who's preening the other bird's tail. So these birds are acting in a friendly way with each other. So we call that affiliative behavior. So I watch the birds for hours and hours every day and record every time any bird does anything. And I end up with lots and lots of data. And the way that I've been analyzing that data from all these birds, here you can see all the individual birds with all their marks. The way that I've been analyzing that data is with social network analysis. So here you can see each of the white points there, the little white points, is an individual bird, and a line between them means that they're interacting in some way. So you can look at aggressive interactions when they're fighting, you can look at affiliative interactions when they're being friendly, you can look at which birds are in the same group as other ones. It depends on the question that you're interested in. So for here, to look at the development of social structure and how these relationships are forming over time, you can see that here and here, so these are two networks for the same group that I generated that are about 8 days apart, and you can see that the first one over here, you can see the structure looks a lot different from the second one over here. But then if you look over here at this other group, these are the same networks about 8 days apart. You can see that there's not a whole lot of difference that you can see by eye. So one of the neat things that I've been looking at to look at kind of this change over time question is you can actually make a video or a little movie and animate how the social network is changing over time. So here, all of the yellow parts, those are individual parakeets, and the lines again are representing how they're interacting. So then you can animate it and look at how the relationships are changing over time. So here a red tie means that that relationship is getting weaker, and a blue tie means that it's getting stronger. And when the points are moving all around, that shows how the social structure is changing over time. This is kind of a neat way of looking at an interactive way of looking at how the birds are changing their relationships and their friendships over time. So with this research, what I hope to be able to do is learn more about how the parakeets are interacting and why they're interacting in certain ways. and also look at if there are similarities with other species, especially with humans, because a lot of different species show these kind of similar social behaviors. So we may be able to learn about parakeets and also learn about how humans are interacting socially at the same time. So I hope you've enjoyed a little glimpse into my research, and I'll see you in class this year.